Hello. I thought I would just jump on and just speak a little into uh, generational patterning. This is something I've been working through for many years, many years. Uh, as you know, trauma gets passed down, um, and we get programmed and conditioned from a very young age. And this is no one's fault at all, because it gets passed down through the family line, mostly. And it can be, of course, people around us too, teachers, etc. But I do remember growing up, and I have, by the way, no bad feelings towards my parents at all. They did the best that they can, or they did the best that they could at the time. I know it was quite stressful. People live very stressful lives, and it's not always easy raising children, family. And my parents have both passed on now, and they're in spirit. I talk to them all the time. They're like my biggest supporters. So I'm not speaking badly of them, but they're just sharing my lived experience. What I noticed, the family I grew up in fought a lot and argued a lot. My parents, my brothers as well. And I just remember as a very, very young little girl, about 4 years old, I just remember thinking, gosh, there's something wrong with these people. There's something wrong. There's something seriously wrong with the world. And I just knew that, like many of us, not saying I'm special, we're all special. A lot of little kids have this realization, there's something wrong with the world. And I just knew I was here to be part of a great change. I didn't know the words for it. I just had the feeling of it. So that was sort of first sort of awareness. I was a very sensitive child, as a lot of us are. And a lot of us come down here and we're put into challenging family situations. My upbringing was actually quite good in the way where I was very privileged. I didn't really go without. I was fed, I was clothed, and I was cared for. So that was all good. But like growing up, we all have our challenges and difficulties. When you're sensitive, and you have parents who are carrying trauma. My mother unfortunately carried a lot of childhood trauma, and she created a lot of challenge and difficulty in her life. She struggled as a mother, as a wife, in life really. She was raising 4 children, and she had a pretty volatile relationship with her husband. There's a lot of arguments, fighting, and she had a young, very sensitive child that she didn't really probably know how to handle me really, and she did project a lot, because she was filled with, understandably, she was filled with a lot of anger and sadness. I remember her crying a lot. She was very depressed, and I learnt from a very young age how to hold space through her really. We used to, when we had alone time, she would share with me what she went through as a child, and I was very, very young, but I was quite shocked. I remember thinking, wow, I didn't even know what the words meant, and I had to ask how her father committed suicide. I didn't even know what that was, so I was pretty young. I just listened, you know. And yeah, I guess growing up in that fairly sort of hostile environment of fighting and arguing, being sensitive, I had quite high anxiety, and I learnt to, through that though, I learnt to really sense and read people's energy, and although it did create a lot of feeling on edge a lot of the time, because I never knew how my mother was. She could be quite nice and caring sometimes, and then other times she was very angry and would project a lot. There's a lot of blame, and her children would bear the brunt of it really, and husband. So it was, there were, some gifts, I guess, that came through because of that. Anxiety, not so good though, but I've sort of learnt to manage that, to a lot of self-love and nervous system regulation and so on. I've been able to learn the skills required to manage that. So this is pretty much generational patterning. My father, he grew up in a very strict Presbyterian setting, very strict parents as well, and he was a very good father, especially maybe in the younger years when we were really young. He was quite stressed, and he had a lot to deal with his work and a difficult wife, and so he would get very stressed and very angry, and and he could be quite strict as well, with discipline, and so I was quite scared of him growing up when I was young, very young, but he changed. He changed, he softened quite a lot from when I was a young teen. Yeah, he softened a lot, and he managed to find ways to cope with challenging difficulties he had within his marriage. I think my parents stopped fighting as much, and he was able to notice patterns within my mum and sort of work around them. So but the importance of me talking about this is the healing of this generational patterning, how important it is for ourselves, not only ourselves, but our lineage as well. I mean, I don't have children, and the age I'm at, I feel like it's very, very, very unlikely that I would have children. But still, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still, you're still healing. You're still healing your line. And it's just a matter of how do you heal it. There's a process to it. It's a lot of pattern recognition, and a lot of letting go of blame as well, because there really is no one to blame. So a lot of forgiveness, forgiving your family, parents, and so on, and forgiving yourself. Probably you could call it inner child work, talking to the younger you, and explaining and letting them know that it's okay. Nervous system regulation, self-love. That's been a big thing for me, and pleasure. Just learning to take time to do things that I really enjoy doing, in the present moment, being present, not escaping, not distracting, just being really present and enjoying whatever you love to enjoy. I love dancing. I go to, there's a really good 5 Rhythms dance in Melbourne, and it takes 2 hours to get there, but it's so good that it's nothing, it's no time at all. I really love that. There are some locally where I am, but they're not as I wouldn't say they're not as good. They're okay, but I prefer the one in Melbourne, and it's on a Sunday morning, so it's the time is fine because it's 4 hours travel there and back. I love gardening and growing things. I'm really lucky where I am. I can grow vegetables and flowers and plants, native plants. I love cooking and eating delicious, yummy food, nature, etc., etc. Going in my campervanning, but there's so many things to enjoy. But when you're always seeking, I found recently I've really dropped into the present moment a lot more. Before, I used to do things I enjoyed but not really be present with it, and it was almost like seeking the next thing, and then just getting through it. So I've found slowing down and being more present. I'm definitely enjoying those activities a lot more. So, and this is, I've found, been very, very healing. It's really good for your self-worth, I've found. And yeah, self-esteem, self-love, it all sort of ties in together, really. Just that simple thing, really being present and enjoying life. So that really shifts you out of that pattern that's been passed down, where you have to force and push things to happen and work really hard all day, all night to become successful, etc. That life is hard almost. That mentality, that those beliefs, those false beliefs that can be generational. Same with low self-worth and low self-esteem, and not feeling good enough as well. So it's very important to look into and to do the self-reflection, reflect on the patterns. You catch yourself and go, oh God, that's just like my parents or so-and-so, that. And then the release work, these days I tend to release through somatically, through body movements, just involuntary body movements. So my body naturally starts shaking, and there's tremors and twitching, and it's through the recognition of truth that this comes about. And this started happening, I've always sort of twitched and moved a little bit when I've released, but through the work I've been doing with Cornelius Christopher and Wano, which I've been doing for the last few years quite intensely, through his work actually, I release this way. And I also release, of course, emotional release, crying, but that it's more somatically, and also processing pain by feeling. But I find that that is quite tough. So for me, the somatic release is way more comfortable. Even though you feel like it's fine, it does, I guess in the beginning it does feel a bit strange, but it is very powerful, very, very, very powerful way to let go. And yeah, I guess, you know, like all things, sometimes it's not automatic that you free yourself from all this generational patterning. I mean, it's ongoing work, ongoing. But you sometimes have to cycle through those patterns and release patterns, but you eventually become freer and freer, and then you start to catch yourself and you're like, no, no. So yeah, I just wanted to speak into that today, and that is it really. So thank you for listening, and much love to you. Much love.